If you're having trouble losing weight despite sticking to a healthier diet, you may be committing 4 food pause that are sabotaging your diet. Here with more information on these common nutritional mistakes and how to fix them is registered dietitian and our food coach, Cynthia Sass. Cynthia, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So these 4 main mistakes. The first one is oversimplifying what's considered healthy eating, right? What does that mean?
Absolutely. We tend to have a track record of zeroing in on one nutrient or one term and sort of making that judge whether the food is good or bad. So for example, for a long time it was fat. And for a lot of people, if a food was high in fat, it was bad. If it was low in fat or fat-free, it was good. And that led to a really big imbalance in the American diet. People were eating a lot of fat-free foods like fat-free cookies and candies and ice cream that were very high in calories. So while people were trying to eat healthfully by avoiding fat, they ended up eating a lot more calories and subsequently gaining weight and really overall not eating more nutritiously. Now, a new study found that the term organic has led some people to think that foods with that term are lower in calories, and that's not necessarily the case. So I'm a big supporter of organics. I think it's really important for the environment and for our health, but it doesn't always mean that the food can be consumed without regard to how many calories it has.
So how do you fix this? Because when you go to the grocery store, I'm sure you see the same thing I do, and that is a ton of labels that say healthy and practically everything out there. It's deceiving.
It really is, and I think the most important thing to do is look at the ingredients in the food. And so when you're looking at the ingredients, you're saying, okay, I'm able to put this in a little bit better perspective because it might be organic or it might be natural, but when you see that the first ingredient is sugar, that's a red flag. You know, there certainly are a lot of organic foods that aren't necessarily the most healthy foods. And on the flip side, if you're looking at an organic apple, and the only ingredient is an apple, that's a different story. So I think to really keep the big picture of nutrition in perspective and also portion sizes, because you know those are really 2 keys to not only weight management but overall health.
Okay, another common mistake is overestimating what our body needs. What do we really need?
Yes, I know. That's a tough one because a lot of my clients, you know, they do office work and they're very stressed out and they're very on the go and busy, and they sort of assume that they need more calories than they really do. But even when you're really working hard at the office, you're probably burning on average about 4 times fewer calories than if you're, say, riding a bike or walking at a fast pace. So there is a good rule of thumb that you can use, and when you're at the office or you're sitting at basically fairly sedentary, 100 calories per hour is about what we need. So if you're going to eat every 3 to 5 hours, that means you only need about 300 to 500 calories for a meal or a snack. Now, to put that in perspective, 1 medium apple with 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter for dipping is about 300 calories.
That's it?
Yeah. Now, if you add, let's say, a non-fat yogurt to that or a soy latte, that adds about another 100. So that would be a pretty decent snack for someone to get them through a 3 to 4 hour period. But certainly a lot of people are eating far more than 300 to 500 calories, and then they're eating again less than 5 hours later. So that's something to really keep in mind.
So you're a big fan of eating smaller meals, more smaller meals throughout the day versus the traditional 3 meals.
Yes, we used to have the 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I actually think it is better to eat a 4th or even a 5th meal and eat a little bit less at each meal. The reason is because when we eat food, a lot of our blood flow goes to the digestive system to help digest and absorb that food, which means it gets diverted away from your brain and away from your muscles, and you tend to feel a little bit sleepy or sluggish when you've had a heavier meal. Even though you might not get hungry again for 5 or 6 hours, I know I feel better when I eat more frequent lighter meals, and I really do advise my clients to do that. And I can also say this, I've had people eat about the same number of calories a day, but when they've switched from eating 3 bigger blocks of food to eating 4 or 5 smaller blocks of food, they not only have felt better, but they've lost weight eating the same number of calories. And I think it's because you're better metabolizing and burning off the food, you know, when you sort of break it up throughout the day. It really makes sense based on how your body works.
So timing is everything, basically.
It is.
It really is everything. Okay, now the other mistake is that a lot of people out there, they're trusting the wrong sources. And who should you go to and trust?
Well, you definitely want to talk to everyone has a personal physician, hopefully. We all should have our general practitioner or our personal doctor, and he or she can be a an excellent starting place. But hopefully they will also refer you to an expert, a registered dietitian. A lot of people aren't really sure how to find a registered dietitian. Sometimes they're not even sure what we do, to be quite honest. But what we can do is meet with you for a much longer period of time. You may meet with your doctor for maybe 10 minutes. I spend at least an hour with my clients. I take them to the grocery store. Sometimes I go into their homes and go through their cupboards with them. We may sit down and create an individualized plan. So if you'd really like to find an RD in your area, you can go to eatright.org and you can put in your zip code, and you can even look by specialty. I think that's very important because some registered dietitians specialize in only one thing, like diabetes. Others are more generalists, and others specialize in weight management or sports nutrition. So you can really find the best one for your needs.
And tailor it to your needs, as you mentioned. Eatright.org.
Yes.
Great source. All right, Cynthia, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Really appreciate it. For more health and nutrition information, be sure to check out the health page at abcnews.com. And don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search ABC News Now.